All right, should we look at Apple? I know Apple reported. I have not looked at my Apple model in literally 6 months.
That's the only stock I have individual shares of.
Really?
Yeah, Apple.
Warren,
I figure if they
Warren
do
Buffett
well,
too.
I make money, and if they do badly, I'm going to be happy because I hate them.
Nice. Yeah, Warren Buffett is also a big Apple fan, so there you go. All right, so Apple reported a revenue decline. Obviously very concerning. Declining revenue. I mean, they've had a slow last couple quarters regardless, but your actual revenue is below last year's for the holiday quarter. Ooh. So do we need a new iPhone? Is that what's going on with Apple? I don't get it. Is it just tired? iPhone has declined year over year before.
When in doubt, put a new iPhone out,
This is just a slow, it's kind of hard for me to, it's hard for everyone probably to understand the demographic shifts of Apple and things like that. Like, what's driving iPhone adoption in the long run? I can't say I know exactly. I had a decent Q4. They just had a bad fiscal Q1, which is calendar Q4 for you home gamers. They definitely lowered their shares outstanding. It was 18 billion, then 17 billion, now 16 billion. Hair under 16 billion shares outstanding. So, if you owned 1/18th of the company, now you own 1/16th. If you owned 1/18 millionth of the company, now you own 1/16 millionth of the company. $2.5 trillion company. Unbelievable. Okay, so the new... Sorry?
What's their stock price now?
154. The big question is, can they do a car? Can they do something that can add a whole new leg to their business?
A car.
Yeah, people are talking about them making a car, iCar, possibly making a virtual reality device. I think that's almost a given.
Yeah, I used to have an iCar, and then I got in a little eye crash. But I had a bit of an eye accident. Now I'm eye dead.
You're a bit of an eye idiot.
Hopefully my eye life insurance can pay for my eye funeral.
Okay, so I think I have your fiscal year ends. I have to adjust this. Let's see. I'm going back in history of Apple, back to when they launched iPad, which... It's funny, they hit a wall with iPad, it's amazing, 10 years ago now. iPad revenue is the same over 10 years, which also means, net of inflation, it's a lot less actually. And they hit that wall, get this, 3 years into launch, they hit 30 billion in revenue for iPad.
Oh my God.
And that's an impressive launch curve, right? But then static revenue for the next 10 years. And in fact, they dipped at one point to 18 billion. iPad was kind of irrelevant. They've breathed a little new life into it. But
All right, I have invited Pharma Bro.
They basically haven't had a transformative new product line since iPhone.
I played a solo Q game, so now we can.
Oh, nice.
But the services products are like whatever the
Services is going great because of iPhones, installed base. But yeah, mostly the services business is the store, the massive fee they take in the store.
Yeah, Steve Jobs obviously created a lot of new products and kind of brought to the forefront things that were kind of
It's
right
very
now,
difficult.
You have Vision Quest.
It's
an iPhone, an iPhone from scratch. Where does that come from? This idea, the iPod.
It's a once.
It doesn't come full form from scratch, man.
Well, no, it doesn't. But it's an idea. It's I know it's not. I know it's not. But
some CEOs.
They had a touchscreen Palm Pilots.
It's a high risk thing. He was
it is high risk. You need that conviction. You need the conviction to actually get all of your team behind the product and make it the best product ever, which isn't easy because other companies will put out products, but they don't have that same, gravitas where the CEO is pushing it really hard and is has so much fervor about the product. I think that Jobs brought that for sure. And, I wouldn't undercut the innovation too. They brought a ton to the playing field on innovation. iPhone was a very innovative product. You know, of course, there were other products like it, but the way they put it all together was incredible. And of course, iPod was, you know, the predecessor to the iPhone. They just, you know, it's just the iPod with more features, right? Yeah, I mean, they did a great job. You know, this is the greatest product, arguably, of all time. So, you know, you can't
flash heel.
You can't go wrong studying how iPhone came out. And it's hard to have repeated successes like that. They've tried. I mean, AirPods was a reasonable success. I wouldn't call it a new product line specifically, but that was a reasonable success. But they tried Apple TV. They tried a bunch of stuff that just didn't fly. You know, their media division is kind of sagging.
They made pretty good Apple TV.
Their next thing probably will be the VR. Their VR will probably be.
Yeah, I don't even know if they're gonna have the confidence.
Yeah, or their AR.
I don't know if they're gonna have the confidence to put it out because of this dynamic I'm talking about, where they're very more of a cautious company where they don't experiment as much anymore. I think they really want to like make sure that the product wins, and I think that's not the kind of company I think Steve Jobs would be running, but you know, they're more like grow the stuff we have now as opposed to what Jobs was doing. And I think like the car, if they do come out with an iCar, I think that'd be an impressive kind of like extension of their, you know, sort of philosophy, their corporate philosophy. Where their current corporate philosophy is one of extend and be cautious, whereas, you know, it's possible that their new.
Tell me they shouldn't make an iGun.
Apparently, Apple had a product called iWork a while back. I do know Apple grew throughout the recession. 2001, well, at least in 2002 and 2003, revenue grew, which for most companies in that period, they grew small, but it still grew, which is kind of impressive. That was a tough.
Weren't you working at the hedge fund at that time?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it was a tough couple of years back then. So I'm like surprised that they actually grew. I didn't follow Apple too closely or anything, but I guess iPod still really hadn't come out, so.
Yeah, iPod got big in like 03, 04, I think. 04, 05 when I got one.
Yeah, 03 was the launch. It only did 345 million in fiscal 03. So still pretty much Mac company. Yeah, fiscal 05, it was a pretty big product already. It was 30% of the company by then. Wow, Apple was just a really small company 20 years ago. It just makes you remember that management is basically the most important thing in any business. All right, let's see. This is the early days of Mac. Not really that early, but this was pre-iPad, pre-iPhone. Oh, iPod had some sales in 2002, fiscal year 02. I did not know that. A lot of people think about investing as just using their own money. You really can't use your own money. You have to use other people's money, basically, until you have your own money. And even then, a lot of people still use OPM for a long time.
What's the threshold you say you have to cross financially to start kind of using your own money?
I don't know. Maybe just a random number I'm picking, but like 10 million, 20 million, that kind of range. I mean, I still think, you know, you're always, if you have low cost of capital, you're kind of always better off using other people's money. In addition to your own, obviously, but there's never really a point in time where it's like you don't want to use anybody else's money. It depends on your goals and what you're trying to achieve, obviously, as well. No, Apple won't return 28% forever.